So I started building on those facts to ask questions to the Prime Minister. Now, something similar to political situation of Australia and Japan, the fact that both nations have been sort of invited or forced to be involved in the warfare in Afghanistan and Iraq. But one difference is that 24 Japanese were killed in New York. But I have discovered that the Japanese government does not or has not intended to find the facts about how those 24 people are killed. For those who had not read or seen my questions in January, the answer by the Japanese government was that they do not know how those 24 people are confirmed to be dead. 11 people, somehow they have some facts why they were killed. But 13 of 24 Japanese killed in New York were proved to be dead because the U.S. court had sentenced that they were dead. And I asked the Prime Minister or some other cabinet ministers, have the Japanese government discovered or confirmed that U.S. authorities had done DNA test? Then the answer was that they don't know. In November, actually, last year, I had asked the Japanese Prime Minister, do you think terrorism is a crime or warfare? The answer was, yes, basically, terrorism is a crime. But what happened on the 11th of September 2001 was a well-organized, planned attack. Therefore, we supported the war on terror. So I asked in January to the Prime Minister, as you had said it was a crime, then you have to investigate to find out who did it and how they were killed. As I described, no proper answer from the Japanese government. Therefore, we have the right, I said in the Japanese Diet, that we have to find out from you, the Japanese government, and you, Japanese government, to U.S. government to receive proper confirmations of how the victims were killed and who did it and how they did it. So that's how my question started. And we have a system in Japan that members of parliament have right to ask the Prime Minister written, proper set of questions, and they have to be answered through the Speaker of the House within a week. So I have had 2 rounds of questions to be replied by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. And no proper answer so far has been given back. But gradually, various contradictions and how they were not in a position to answer or find out the facts or their unwillingness to find facts, those things are being sort of revealed. About 10 days ago, I was invited by Mr. Juliet Chiesa, a European Member of Parliament, to the event which took place on the 26th of February, the film showing of Zero. I don't know, some of you may have seen about it, but it has not appeared on the internet world because the point of the film Zero is that we've been quite active in various countries, but we have to go out from internet world to a sort of daylight activities to be shown to the public, the ones who do not usually operate through internet. And I think the time has come for us to go out from internet world to wider public activities. So therefore, the filmmakers, Mr. Chiesa and others, have made this film by their own expenses so far to try to convince the film distributors in various countries to be shown in the movie theaters. And I have heard that the person responsible for the film distributions in various countries had visited Australia. Actually, he had flown back from Australia to Belgium to be ready for that event on the 26th of February. I don't know which sort of film distributor in Australia that he's been negotiating with. The film Zero is a very Italian graphic moving film. For instance, at the screen, the burning scene of that tower in Madrid and the World Trade Center sort of appearing on both sides of the same sort of screen. And the site where the airplane crash took place somewhere, and the place where the airplane was supposed to have crashed in Pennsylvania. So sort of two films are sort of showing. So you can see the contrast very easily and so on. So I hope that this film Zero will appear in various movie theaters in various countries. In Europe, I was able to meet various people, including Michael Meacher, former Minister of Environment in London in the UK government. You know, he was the Minister of Environment, and he took a lot of courage to say his beliefs in one of the newspapers. And because of that, he was sort of sacked by Mr. Blair. But he says that maybe in the Labour Party in UK, 20 or 30 members now who share the same view as he does. And there may be 20 or 30 others in other party who would sort of publicly sort of support if good timing and way was found. And as Mr. Blair is not the Prime Minister, and the time for Mr. Bush is coming to an end, he said that our time is coming, and our time will come soon. Here are some of the statements that he made, but I think you know those things, so I do not read it out. Then, maybe this is at the moment, please, in confidence. I had a brief meeting with Mr. Ernst Belteke. This is just for confidence, please. You know, Mr. Belteke, as I said what he said, that there was put options, the high oil prices, gold and life insurance market, insider trading before the 9/11. By the way, the put options were made for American Airlines and United Airlines, and Merrill Lynch Corporation, one of the large tenants in the World Trade Center. And his researchers, means the researchers in the German Central Bank, had found some facts on which he said what he said at the meeting of the central bank's meeting. So he said to me that he actually believed what his people had said. Therefore, he said. So he is wanting to find out more about exactly what his researcher had discovered in September 2001. So I think what we may be coming to a stage is that in these patriots in various sort of fields of professional life, I think the scholars, physics, and construction experts, like those who have presented this morning, Professor Jones and so on, I think you have coordinated well enough to make common petitions or requests. But politicians have not been able to coordinate ourselves.